Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Samuel Durbridge. I'm going to go over some really cool information that is from darkness turning to light awareness. So I watch a lot of different channels because I like to know a lot of different information. Some of them are fun and some of them are very open-minded and aware of things, and some of them are just to relax and joke around, and that I just think is amazing because they bring up some really just open knowledge about being your full self, self-worth, and being authentic and just honest and connecting with your life and not being a facade and just being what you feel you should and just doing a lot of fun, silly stuff. So I follow a lot of those kind of channels, and I got drawn to them because I needed to find my own self or find things that not fully resonate with me, but resonate to certain parts of me. Because what's interesting is we're not going to find our full selves just in one video or one location of one group of information. We're going to find it in several pieces of individuals because we're all fractal versions of the full connected self. So if you think that one individual or one purpose of a person will be your full self-connection, it's not always going to be that way. It's going to connect with you through different versions of people and beings. And so we're going to connect with different individuals through our heart connections. And so different people will want to know what others are doing. And so there are people that try to listen in to see if people are talking about them, or secretly spy to see if the person's going to say anything negative about them. And worrying about those kind of things is only because someone else is trying to get us to focus on the wrong vibration connections, or just to see if they truly are against us, or to be careful to see if they're going to do anything. And that is a vibration of what's called false light. Meaning you think that something is because you don't always connect with that person because others have turned you against them, or you just have similarities of certain abuses that happened to both of you and you both can't connect because you both have just done it differently or solved it in a different way than the other is willing to do or can do. And so everybody is different in some pieces, but we also are all very similar, and we might actually fit more when we let go of those judgments that we think the other feels about us or is doing, or that we choose to allow the other to feel or think, or misinterpretations on why we think certain things are going on when they're not. So really, it's about the heart. What really matters is, what is it that matters to you? You don't need to fully worry about what others feel about you, but it does affect you, and it affects us all. However, it's really about what is it you feel is needed for you, not what others should do for you, or what you think others should react towards you as, or be around you as, or around those that you care or should see or should think of it as. They have their reasons for doing what they do for their own health and their own needs, or their own reasons due to things that have occurred to them. So really, it's about what is it that matters to you, so that you can bring in more things that you will have serve you, without thinking that others around you don't want you to be served for healing and love and to have what you want if it matters to you. Because everybody matters, whether others want to think you matter or don't matter, based on how they feel you've treated them, or they feel that you feel or you're being treated by them. And so it's really about your individual feelings about yourself, and then standing up for yourself. Anybody that wants to put you down or bully you because they don't like things or information you're sharing, that's their darkness. And sometimes it's jealousy, sometimes it's just they're afraid that you're going to bring people towards something that they shouldn't know, or you've chosen to stand up for something that you feel is taking people away from your awareness of things and you don't like that and you're afraid they're bringing people a wrong direction, and so you feel like it's your duty to get people to be led a different direction or to do stuff to sabotage the individual. But really all you're doing is you're projecting your own energy of doubt of your self-worth and your self-purpose, when you don't need to doubt your self-purpose because of another individual or sabotage another so that others will come to you, because that's not the way it should work. If you're going after people for that, they have the right to stand up for their values and to have the right vibration in their circle and to be safe and to feel safe so that others that come to their channel or choose to go on their channel feel safe or have the right energy. You bringing that energy into someone's space where they're just doing it so that they can promote their high vibes and to feel like they're doing a purpose that matters to them, and then you trying to reverse their purpose that matters to them by putting them down or trying to get people to look bad at them, is you promoting that you want people to look bad at you too. You're bringing the wrong energies, and by choosing to not like something that was brought from the heart or that you just disagreed with because you took offense that wasn't meant to be taken offense of, and it was just about someone being honest to help others so that others are aware to choose for themselves rather than to be controlled or enslaved or to be abused. And so what it is everybody is suffering from envy and from strife and from being too tired or feeling like no one loves them. Well, I want this video to let you be aware that we are in what I have felt, and I'm not saying that it is or isn't, but I've noticed the pattern that we're in the 40 days and 40 nights in the biblical sense, but the unconditional love connection, what I feel it is, of the Christ connection story of darkness to light, blessings. Well, there is a promise, and there's another channel I follow that they mention that there's supposed to be some form or possibly of a 40-day, 40 nights of gifts, of blessings. And you won't necessarily see them as big or bad, but I'm going to call it as the universe will provide you what you desire. And if it does this, be grateful that you're noticing it. Because for me, I noticed it, and I don't know if it's just for me, but it's making me be aware that something is going on that I wanted to know. So it's me noticing it and going, whoever's doing this or whatever is doing this, thank you. Because the good that's coming out of it is what I love. Not the bad stuff, but the good that it's turning into, I'm grateful for, because I'm hoping that it will turn into the better, bigger good that I really have hoped for. So what has happened is there's been 20 days where there's been certain days where there's been dark things that have been very when I say dark, I mean an evil, very, very shadowy, that has been very kind of eerie, shadowy, kind of concerning, where I'm not sure what to take of it or concern and worry. And then I still keep my spirits up and focus, and I feel this calm that it will work out. And then all of a sudden it does. And then I'm just like, but I don't know how it will, but I feel all this. So the first blessing switch was really interesting because it took a week for me to see the good in it. So that was the first start. So it happened like an early amount. And so it wasn't every day, but it started that biggest time, and it would have been the end of January, of January 30th. And the dates would be different if we're looking at the actual New Year's stuff that I talked in my previous videos. But what is interesting is it would have been January 30th, and I noticed, or a little bit, or a week before, where certain things were happening, where I had to figure out and decide things before then. And then finally I was able to get what I needed to so that I would be okay for February and have the needs still met, because I had to change a life switch, which was great that it happened so that I could finally be what really mattered to me. But it was still not what I really wanted. It still didn't really cover what I felt I would ultimately want, but it was something that got me through to keep being able to still have needs that I need right now or require to keep going, that I'm grateful for. And so that was really interesting, because that was a big hurdle for me. But it was also confirming that I was being sabotaged, or certain things were being done to me that confirmed that I was right about the noticing of these things. So I'm like, okay, so that is just, and someone told me when I brought it up to them about the current concern, they said, that's false light. That negative thing that came at you was a false light scenario to push you in the better direction, which was really difficult for me. But then the better direction was still a false light blessing. So I'm still waiting for, well, then what is the ultimate blessing that came from being able to do that? And I'm thinking that blessing will about to reveal itself, but I don't know when it will. But I think that was the first blessing of it. So what it is it's a darkness where it comes to light, or a phoenix coming out of its ashes. And I was like, this is really interesting, because if that is the case, then what is occurring is I'm switching from this experience of concern that I was worried about that was fakely caused, and then it came out to where I could get drawn to someone that I felt would help me for right now, that would be a blessing to get me away from the other that wasn't, to get me to still be okay for now. But it still felt like just a, not a full blessing, but just a flip side of the other side, getting me to something so that I could then eventually get to the true desired atmosphere that I really truly needed or required, which will come later, I feel. And I think it just helped me for the time to get me to my ultimate blessing, or true blessing that will bless me. And I think that is starting to maybe happen soon. Yet that hasn't happened yet, but at least it got me away from that. But I think that was just the start of it. I don't think that was really considered a necessary blessing. I think it was more of a blessing in disguise of getting me away from a messed up situation that was trying to let me go of their control to slowly get out of the full control of it. But it still put me in a flip side of it that wasn't really a blessing. But it was sort of a blessing, maybe to help me for something future that will be a blessing, which hasn't occurred yet. Or maybe it has, and I just haven't noticed it. But you'll notice it. With these blessings, you should notice it like right away. Because I started noticing it in the last week or two. And others have too. They've started to notice that certain things would happen to where, for me, and maybe it's happened for you, and maybe you haven't noticed it yet, and maybe you'll notice it now because I'm bringing it up, is you'll have stuff that will either break on you or happen, and then from that ashes of that shadowy destruction that seems bad comes blessings where you find things that you thought you lost, and you'll see it return. And so I've had a few of those, and then certain things will show up, and you're like, well, I thought I lost this. I thought this was gone, and now I found it. This is awesome. So you'll find things that you thought you lost that will show up, and you'll be like, okay, this is awesome. It just showed up out of nowhere from where I thought it wasn't, and now it's there. And so I found that, and that was cool because I didn't know it was there, and then I found it. And there was other blessings at the same time, where I was looking for certain things that occurred, and I found certain old documents that I needed and old information that I thought I lost, old file folders and information that really I required or would like to have or know, and they showed up because I had them somewhere that I didn't know. So they showed up out of somewhere I didn't know they were, and I was like, this is awesome. I'm finding things I didn't know that were somewhere that they were, thinking that something else was there. So blessings kind of just showed up that I thought I lost, and then they returned. And I was just like, this is really cool. Like, it's switching from bad to good, or lost and found. And now that I'm thinking about it, it happened that way. So certain things occurred and certain things were found, and it made me feel grateful because I was like, oh, this is great. This will help me. So the next thing that I noticed after that was when something broke, I found something that I lost, and then the something that broke off, I saw something that reminded me of my childhood, and it reminded me of a fractal connection to a pony, or an idea of something that I could turn into a toy pony later, or something for someone, or something that reminded me of my childhood, of something that I like, and a promise that will be given back to me or provided for me, and maybe a future child or a future connection to having a family that I would want. And then that child having the dreams I wanted, and that they will now be able to have, that I was hoping I would have if that's what they would want, so that they can enjoy the stuff I never fully got to enjoy, and I get to see them enjoy it. Or even if they don't, I'll let them enjoy what they want, but it will be nice to have it for me, to be able to reminisce of that memory of, now I have something I can give to another person that would want the same dream I would want, that may want a rocking pony, and now I have something I can do as a craft later when I have the means to turn it into a rocking pony connection. And I figured out how I could do that. And it took me a little bit to recognize how I would do that, but it was really cool. So I had some real quick connections there. So first, you have certain things that happen and certain people that try to infiltrate into your life, and some are good and some of them are tricksters, and then some of them you realize are just trying to get connections so that people can love them over you, or so that they can get more people to follow them, that they feel connect with you, that they feel need to be taught, that they think others should know your knowledge over another's. Really, everybody can share their heart, and everybody's knowledge is equally as important if it's from the heart, and equally in love for everyone. And that's how I see it. If you want to conditionalize it, that's your choice to conditionalize it. Then you'll be drawn to people that want that conditioning and want that separation, which is fine, because there are some people that want to be in a different realm or a different separation of life because they can't resonate with the other, because it just doesn't fit with them right now, or they're not truly aware of it, or they're not vibing it at the same level as the other. And so when you say understand is low vibe, and upstand is, or rise up, or uprising, or good rising, or rising is you're going upwards with your vibe. If you say understand, you're below the standard, you're low vibing. And when you say mourning, you're crying, you're sad for waking up. They did this to all our words and everything for a purpose. Once you recognize what has been said and what's been done, we can look at the good and realize, oh, let's say it this way, but it's still okay to say it the other way, but the vibrations are still there. But we need to forgive and put judgments aside in love, because that's how healing works. Because when we do that, you can heal without judging and putting negative vibes, or focusing on negative vibes, and forgiving it and loving all. And then forgiving yourself of your doubts and others' doubts, and then just blessing it into being. And that's how you heal. That's how you heal bladder cancer under 3 minutes, like they did in the non-medicine hospital. That's how you do those things. So powerful. It's amazing what we're able to do. And so I let it be known, because I was told to do that by my higher connected self, which is the Christ self, which is unconditional love Christ connection to me. But just because I saw mine a certain way doesn't mean that it's not what you feel it is for your belief system. Because your belief, creator or God or deity, is just as important to you as my connection of awareness was to me, of what helped me and told me where to go and what to do, that loves all forms of peace beings. So mine cares about all forms of peacemakers and deities that are said to exist, and some of them were said to be connected to their past lifetimes or connected lifetimes, or were them and were said to be some other form, and went to different groups as different deities that they say are all separate when they could be the same individual, or many different ones that are connected to a soul group of the same individual, which is kind of cool when you think about it. So one of the things I wanted to bring up was we manifest people to do certain things or to come across a certain way that they really aren't. And so if we think that people are doing certain things or making their hand movements to be a certain way or whatever for certain code words or whatever that aren't really that way, I just like to move my hands, and if I scratch or something, it's because I have an itch or an irritation, and some people are vibing and saying, oh, see, it's code. Oh, this is that. Not for me. For me, I'm just whatever I am. And if it is any form of codes, it's probably some kind of biblical connection that the higher self is doing within me to show you a connection that would resonate with you, to give you answers for you. But it doesn't mean that it is what you feel it is. It's more, for me, a peaceful connection, or a connection that will help you on your life path to go where you feel you should. And that's up to you. That's your choice. That's your decision. And everybody matters in the heart. And that's what I always let others in all forms know, is because there is a connection there, both scientifically, spiritually, metaphysically, and emotionally, and just many ways. And so what is really cool is I noticed something that I thought was interesting was when I had these experiences happen, at first I'm like, okay, so this is becoming a pattern, and it does get irritating because it's like, well, what's going to come from this? So first you get something that comes wrong, and you're like, what is going on? And it's like the vibes want to put your vibes down, or you feel like someone's trying to put you in the vibe. And what's interesting is I get things that are saying they're coming later, and I'm like, oh, great, okay, it's coming later, okay, it'll be okay. And then all of a sudden, when it gets closer to that, and I'm like, okay, it's going to be closer to the day that it's coming, and then I look at it again, and I looked at it that morning, and it's saying it's coming the 22nd or on, and then all of a sudden, I look at it that day later, within the day, that said it was coming the 22nd or a certain time, and then it said it arrived on the 19th all of a sudden. I'm like, wait, what? But I looked at in the mail, or I looked at those things on that day. It wasn't there. So how could it be there when it wasn't there? So I noticed that there is a time dilation change that's going on. We have quantum computer changes happening, and it's reversing our time, and it's giving us gifts in the past. Here's what's interesting, though. When I look at some of these gifts or these situations, I've had it when it's happened like that before. While I look at the thing and I go, whoa, it's the wrong thing. I'm like, but it's something that I would use if I had the right device for the cord or the connection of that thing. But it came early when it was saying it was coming later, and then it came early. So great, it came early. But it was just weird. It was like it was put in a time loop, or a time where it was put back in the past to give it to me early, to be prepared to give it to me on the day before the day it was supposed to come. And so I'm like, sweet, I'm getting it like 3 days earlier. And it's like, this is saying it came 3 days earlier, but it actually came the day that it said it came early on. And so or the day before maybe, and I just didn't notice it. So I looked and got it, and I was like, great. And then when I looked at it, it was the wrong cord. So I was like, okay, well then I need to let the person know that I would love these cords if they fit, but I can't really return it. And I would try to return it. But what's great about the seller, when those things happened, they worked with me. And it's like, okay, at first it was an irritating situation, but it was cool thing, and I would use it if I have the right products, and maybe I will. And maybe this was a gift because it knew I would get something that would work with it for the future, telling me that this is where I'm going towards, and that's what I should do, giving me like a little push or a little thing saying, guess what's coming, guess what you're going to get, this is what you're going to be giving me a foreshadowing of the future, which is a good foreshadowing. So the darkness to light is a good darkness that seems dark or seems concerning. You're like, great, what do I do now? And then all of a sudden you look at it a little bit more and you realize it's not fully what it seems. And you flip the card over and then there's your little gift from it. You saw one side of it, but on the other side, it's the true blessing of it. And you're like, wow. So I saw a lot of these. A lot of these things have happened. So from a circumstance that happened, then I found something that I was looking for that I lost for a while, and things came in. So you get a blessing from it. And then another blessing comes out of it as well. But it's like two separate gifts, but then it still feels a little bit off. And so it's like it still needs to heal and become the truth. So it's kind of delayed early blessing before the big ultimate blessings to get you by, just to kind of figure out what you really would want, or if you'll appreciate the ones that you were given, so that you can get true blessings that would really benefit you, to see how you react. So if you appreciate those blessings or respond correctly to them and try to find a way to use them or go through them, then new, better blessings will come next. And that's what I noticed. That's what the darkness to light is at first it feels horrible. Then you start getting better and better and better and better blessings for things that are in your life that seem small, that turn into bigger and bigger, better things. And so that's what's been happening. And that's called the 40-day, 40-night blessing change. And the one that brought it up is spiritually talking about different calendars and different things that I follow that I think the individual is pretty cool for their belief system of what they feel is important to let people know of a Christ return or type of connection to that. And I'm like, well, I'm more about the Aquarius 3D, 5D shift with the connection to a Christ, unconditional Christ connection or Christ consciousness type within us to all, but it's more of all the different deities as just different names of the oneness of all of them, where they're all going to come back and they're all for the different connections to bring everybody whole, because they're just all different variations of one, different stories of the same ultimate story that we're all a part of. And so it's really cool because that's what I'm noticing. And so everybody's been noticing their own little blessings and experiences that they're all talking about. And I notice that people are bringing up crows a lot. And they're like, look at the crows outside. Look at this. And I don't know if that's them bringing up some kind of coding within the celebrity movements or connected to those groups. I have no idea. But it seems like it. But it seems interesting. And some say that it's connected to witchcraft or other stuff. I don't know. I have no idea. But I think it's interesting. And it kind of connects to Noah, where he tried to use a crow or raven first, and then the dove was sent instead next. So right now we're getting the darkness and then the light. So the raven and crow to the dove. And so maybe that's what that is. So right now we're getting the blessings that are more 3D blessings that come across a little bit. They're okay. At first they're irritating, and then you find out it's a card that needs to be flipped to the real blessing that it was trying to show you. And you just needed to see it first. It comes off as bad, and then you notice it's actually good. And then you find something that you lost and other things you didn't know were lost. And then you're just like, wow, it's just blessing on blessing. So I've seen like 2 to 3 to 4 blessings, not just 2. But it's kind of like this. It's like a phoenix dying, and then another phoenix rising out of the ashes, like in Harry Potter show, and then giving you 2 feathers. One is for something that comes across as dark, but it's a blessing for the other connection to come, so that the other connection can connect with the dark connection, so that then eventually the darkness will be taken out by the light side gift that came after. And so it's really interesting, because the things that came from dark that switched, it was like 2 blessings or more, and it just started happening. And I'm just like, this is really cool. It just keeps on happening every day, and I'm not always noticing it every day, but I'm starting to now. So when this thing happened that day, I started to go, okay, so what's the light side of this thing I just got that was the wrong thing? Well, I just got a response from the seller, and they do this a lot for people, if you're not. And so I was like, this is really cool. They're saying, keep those, we'll send you the correct ones. I'm like, there we go. That's awesome. So now I'm going to get good ones that I really need, that I really was ordering, that was supposed to be those, that they gave me the wrong ones. And they said, keep those, we're going to give you these others. So it's almost like someone did it purposely, knowing that I'm going to need these cords, and that these other cords would only be temporary for this device or devices similar. So it's almost like saying that we're giving you these because you're going to get new devices anyway, but we'll send you these for you, but it will almost be like I may not need it. And so, but if I do need it, I'll have it. So now I got 2 gifts, that one was the wrong gift, but maybe it was for the future of a device that I would probably be getting, or for other devices to use for, that I'll need extra cords for the new change. And maybe this one will be, these other cords that are coming will just be the ones that I originally was supposed to have, that now are going to be here, that I originally was looking for or needing. So something that was lost or didn't come is now found and being given to me for the situation, and I got an extra bonus that the other ones that were the mistake, but I can use them for what I want to use them for, because I'll probably get a device that will be used for them, maybe. Or at least I'll have them just in case I go towards a device like that. Or I can use them for friends or other people. So it's kind of cool. I'm just like, okay, this is a blessing. So I'm going to do another video on this, but on something similar to this. But bless you all. Love you. Your desires are now provided. I bless. Bless yourself. Love yourself. Thank you. Take care.